Good afternoon, everyone. First, before I begin, I just want to thank you all for the work that goes into this process. I previously served as a co-chair of the endorsements committee, so I know firsthand how stressful and how much time and energy it takes to organize these interviews. So thank you for your service to our party. Right now, we're living in challenging times that demand strong democratic leadership. Our public education system and our communities we serve are under attack. Immigrants, communities of color, and so many are being targeted, dehumanized, and made to feel afraid, and this impacts our students. And that's why I'm answering this call to come back and serve the very community college district where I was once a student. This is a district that gave me another chance, a pathway to transfer to UC Davis, earn my degree, and dedicate my life to public service and come back and serve as your council member. So today I'm running because we need experienced, bold leadership to protect our students, strengthen our colleges, and ensure that opportunity that I once had remains available to everyone who needs that second chance. So thank you. And with that, I'll pass it back to you.
Thanks, Cameron. Our first question is going to come from Michael Nye.
As soon as I get this larger for my old eyes. What are your top three priorities if elected, and how will they be funded?
I think first is to create initiatives to boost enrollment in our community colleges to ensure that our district is able to financially sustain itself in the long term. A lot of this it really is funded not just with the district but also regionally. Think about the barriers that folks face to enroll in colleges and also to attend. Hearing from so many students who are from San Pablo, from Richmond, from Pinole, who are low income, and the transit barrier is so prevalent. We need to really make sure that we partner with WestCat, with all of our regional transit agencies to make sure that students can get to the campuses and make sure that those travel public transit tickets are subsidized. And as someone who's on WestCat board of directors, we'll make sure that I address that issue. The second thing I want to make sure I do is ensure that every single student, regardless of immigration background, feels safe coming to campus. And as a council member and also Mayor Pinole authored and passed the Bay Area's first ordinance to prohibit ICE from coming on to city-owned and controlled property. The same should be true in our community college system and our campuses. We will have the strongest local policies to ensure that we prevent ICE from carrying out unlawful activity on campus. I will work with the chancellor's office to make sure that we just take sample language from cities, counties, other districts to make sure that we have this come back to the board as a discussion item. Third, want to make sure that we build student and education workforce housing. So many of our candidates keep saying student housing, but recent state legislation has allowed us as community college districts to build on district-owned property. We will make sure that we go through the inventory list of district-owned and controlled property in the community college district, see what is vacant, what is available, and directly go out to RFP to make sure that we work to make sure that we build housing for students, faculty, and staff.
Thank you. And Irene, number two.
All right. Thank you, Cameron. Question for me. How would you work with others to support the college district priorities?
Right. I think first thing that has to happen is listen. It's listen. I'm not elected to make decisions for you. I'm elected to make decisions with you. So the first thing that's already happened in this campaign is talking with faculty, talking with staff, and most importantly, talking with students. I'm proud that right now students are a part of this campaign. They're on the campaign team. And the first thing I want to do is before especially important decisions, meet folks where they're at. Go to ASU meetings, go to the campus clubs, listen to people, not tell them what their issues are, but I always believe that the people who are closest to the solution for problems are people who are closest to the issues. So for me, I'm gonna make sure I stay connected with these students throughout the year, not just campaign season and not just budget season, but to really hear what are your issues that you're facing and work with the chancellor's office to make sure that we actually bring up action items on this board to discuss it. Also with unions, and I've made a point about this. Just talking with the unions here in Pinole, you can ask me local 1 in 512. I am almost always one of the only council members who actually reaches out to them throughout the year to check in on them. For me, I keep an open door policy for our classified employees, our faculty. I will continue to do that as a trustee, make sure that I actually take into account what their issues are and ask them what they think the solutions are. And for me, I'm not going to have all the answers. And sometimes it's up to staff to give me the answers, give the board the answers. but a lot of the times it's up to our union members, our faculty, our educators to work with me to identify problems and come up with creative solutions. I have some ideas in terms of how we can get it done, but really the community has to be on board before we come to these critical decision points so that they're not surprised when we do come to a decision and we say, we hear you. But unfortunately, we have to go with a different decision. I think folks are tired of that, and that's really what I'm going to prioritize as a trustee in this district and bring the leadership. I'm sure y'all are tired of this music.
It's like the Academy Awards, Cameron. Raphael, number three.
Cameron? California Proposition 16 prohibits affirmative action. What actions are you willing to take to ensure equity for incoming students? What will you do to ensure equity and inclusivity for students of all ethnic backgrounds in public education?
As I said, so much is under attack right now with the federal administration. It is, I see it, on the council level. Uh, we are at this point losing on federal grants because our city attorney told me this at the very start of the Trump administration that they're actually tying qualifications for grants directly towards a city's commitment to obeying executive orders of the president. If they did not make that, and not just past EOs, but future executive orders that we don't even know about. And so right now, just to make sure we secure the funding that we need for our students, we'll keep working with legal counsel in the district, the chancellor's office, to make sure that we're able to navigate these next 2 years in a way that we can secure grants that can serve the most marginalized students in the community. I think the thing too is especially because next year, because of the big ugly bill, we'll see cuts to food access, to healthcare access. We have to fill in the gaps. And so for me, my priority on this board is not just to accept the status quo, but really to preserve basic needs resources. And preserve is not just good enough. We have to partner with nonprofits. We have to partner with our cities and neighboring cities and counties to really develop those partnerships to fill in those gaps. We have to make sure that everybody who wants to have education here can access it. I think the thing too, again, coming back to the immigration issue, a lot of people do not feel comfortable coming on campus. That is not equitable. That is inequitable. And so we have the responsibility of championing policies to build places of inclusion and belonging, and make them part of the process and not box them.
Timing. What are the most pressing budget issues facing your ward and the district as a whole, including public pension obligations?
I think the most pressing thing right now is the fact that we have to balance the budget, and a lot of times that comes through, unfortunately, layoffs. There are a lot of reasons for that. One big reason that I will be bringing up is just the student-centered funding formula in general. Right now, SCIF they penalize community college districts in parts of California that have an enormous cost of living. It penalizes us. And when that happens, we are at base level. We are getting funding at base level from the state, and that's not okay. So we need to work with our partners in Sacramento to solve that issue. I'm proud to be endorsed by Assemblymember Mike Fong, and so he is the chair of the Assembly Education Committee. We need to champion a bill to amend the SCIF, this funding formula, to ensure that we can actually give employees the COLAs they need and deserve, but also to make sure that we do not have layoffs in the long term. I think for the pension issue, it is a structural deficit issue. It is something that's going to be increasing, unfortunately, projected to be increasing coming years. We have to do all we can to make sure that we build pension reserves. Every single ounce that we have that we can set aside, whether it's in a growing trust fund, we have to make sure that we build that so we can actually pay into CalPERS. Unfortunately, they are incredibly punitive at this point in time. And so we have to make sure that we build those pension reserves, do all we can to meet those pension obligations. And last thing I'll say too is boost enrollment. Comes down to affordability for students. Enrollment is such a huge part of the funding formula. We have to make sure we have curriculum and sort of programs that are attracting students that with high ROI and also pipelines to trades and careers that they can actually make money with in the future.
Thanks, Cameron. All right, next up is how is the district going to recruit a diverse workforce, both faculty and staff?
Right. Bottom line is compensation. That's really all it is. It's bottom line is compensation. We again, like I said, the student-centered funding formula has to be amended at the state level. Will allow us to give these faculty, these classified employees, the compensation that they deserve. And we can't do that when we are getting the minimum amount of state funding through SCIF. And so for me, want to make sure that we look at comparables. We look at what the Peralta Community College District is doing and what they're paying employees to make sure that we're not losing out on quality faculty that could be coming to our district instead. A lot of that too comes down to workforce housing for both staff and faculty. Again, I will be a champion for workforce housing and student housing here in the district. That's going to play a big role. I have heard from too many educators in our district and staff members who travel across Carquinez Bridge across different counties just to work. And they do it not because they have to do, they can work anywhere that they want to work, but they care about this district. And we owe it to them to try our very best to champion workforce housing, not just on district-owned land, but also in cities and counties that are neighboring. So I'm looking at Sun Valley Mall, where I used to hang out with my friends after going to DVC and doing classes. Sears is vacant. That should be housing. We have to work with the Concord City Council. I've had conversations with them and candidates in that city to make sure that we actually prioritize that and bring it up for discussion. That is really going to make sure that we attract and we retain employees and faculty in this district because not just the compensation, that is a huge part about it, but it's also how do they manage with the cost of living here in Contra Costa County and allow them to have the opportunity and the economic ability and stability to stay here and best serve our students.
What is the commitment and plan of the district to upgrade the status, salary, and benefits of adjuncts who are at least two-thirds of the teaching staff?
We're going to have to prioritize this in 2027, 28. When I get on the board, we have to make sure that we actually not just prioritize our full-time employees and our faculty. We actually make sure that we are able to attract and retain even our part-time faculty lecturers, folks who may not be FTEs, and a lot of that comes down to making sure that we extend the same benefits, the same healthcare benefits, whatever it might be, not just to full-time employees, but to part-time staff too, who work on a regular basis. And so those are things that through our interest-based bargaining, we'll fight for. I'll absolutely fight for that. Listen to folks who are classified employees on the ground to make sure that we come to an agreement to actually extend those benefits to adjuncts, to part-time staff. We have to make sure that we get that down. One of the things that was brought up to me in labor, these interviews, was really digging into that problem. Because a lot of the faculty lecturers that we do have here in our district, they are folks who also have full-time jobs. They want to serve our community, but we have to make sure that we adjust our salary schedules in a way that can attract them to take on this responsibility and to be able to afford it while they also make a living.
What has been the policy of the district in relation to ICE, undocumented, and dreamers? Are there changes or updates you would implement?
Yeah, right now, the district is part of a 9-county Bay Area, what they call compacts. They are in alignment most of the time when it comes to immigration enforcement policy. They have been working together to bring up model policies. And right now, Contra Costa Community College does have a policy where unlawful immigration enforcement activity is not allowed. However, So what I do, my full-time job is I work with the California Immigrant Policy Center. I'm one of their policy coordinators, advocates in Sacramento. And right now I'm working on a bill that we're co-sponsoring to actually do ICE-free zones statewide. One of the things that we have to improve as district is not just have that requirement on policy that unlawful immigration enforcement activity is not allowed on campus. We have to make sure that we have training for staff. It has to be mandated so that staff, when ICE comes in, they're not fearful. They know exactly what to do. They know which supervisor to call. And second, we have to make sure that in our policy, we require our administrators in each department, when they're informed of ICE misconduct and them entering into our facilities, that they actually report, they document and report that incident to the state attorney general. The AG's office has a portal for folks to report misconduct. They keep track of it. That helps them investigate these incidents. And so we have to build that in there. I think the second thing too is the folks who are affected on the ground. A lot of them are undocumented or come from mixed status families and they fear for their families as well. So we have to make sure that somewhere in the policy, we draw a direct connection to legal aid services. Not enough just to on campus have materials that they can figure out about or maybe find their way around. We have to beef up our undocumented student services programs to make sure that every single student feels safe and that they have the support necessary to not only get through these really fearful incidences and process it because that's going to affect their academics and their mental health, but also in the case where maybe they are detained, that the district is able to help them out, provide legal aid and representation. Right now, our immigration courts and that whole system is so hijacked, they do not have due process rights. And I will champion also resolutions on this board to sign on to legislation at the state level that will mandate due process rights for all, including those who are facing detention.
Thank you, Cameron. Since you had been 30 seconds under in the last one, I gave you an extra 30 seconds on that.
Oh, thank you.
So next up, how would you work to ensure the student trustee has the same rights as the other trustees?
I think that this is something definitely, and when you say rights, of course, a student trustee in terms of voting power, that's something that's going to remain the same. But I think what we have to do, and it comes down to listening again, we have to make sure that in these meetings, they are valued, their voice is valued the same way and carries the same weight as our elected trustees. The student trustee right now, they actually they represent the entire district. My district covers Ward 1, and I represent all of our campuses as well. But that student trustee represents the entire district. They have enormous knowledge and firsthand experience in terms of what is happening on the ground. So none of us on the board are current students, but a student trustee is. And so they know exactly what is happening on the ground. They're actually most connected to students on the ground campuses. We have to hold ourselves to the same standards, but in terms of them having the same power, a lot of that is also when we do make decisions, we acknowledge what a student trustee is saying. They're not there just to be a symbol or a face of a student on the board, but we have to acknowledge, great point, staff, can you look into this and help them? They're a student. They do need mentorship. And so as a trustee, I will make sure that I have these conversations with Nicholas Bonacero, who is he has endorsed our campaign because he believes in our vision. We have to make sure we acknowledge them, make them feel seen and heard, and also bring it to action. So again, I will hold not only myself, but my colleagues accountable to making sure that we actually listen to our student trustee, we acknowledge their points, and we acknowledge their power and their visibility when it comes to not only the board but also the staff. They should not be overlooked. I'm there to make sure we uplift young voices. As a young elected official, I understand those barriers, and I'm going to make sure that I make that happen for next generation.
How will you work with the student governments at all three schools to ensure the needs, wants, and concerns of students are being met?
Uh, Usually I would say, let's hold a town hall. No, I mean, we have to meet students where they're at. There are students who are part of music clubs on campus. They're part of LGBTQ plus campus clubs on campus. I'm going to make sure that I spend time not just in Contra Costa College visiting these clubs, but every single club within LMC and DVC. And again, I'm not just here representing Contra Costa College, I'm representing all the campuses. I'm an alum of DVC. I have had conversations with students at DVC and LMC up to this point, and am going to be visiting these college campus clubs even before I'm elected. We have those meetings set up, and so for me, it is about it's about me meeting them where they're at, attending and reaching out to ASU representatives, and making sure their voice is heard and reflected in our decision-making processes. And so I will keep showing up. That is something that I'm big on is we need to make sure we stay connected with our communities. I'm ensure that as a trustee, I take time to actually meet folks where they're at, visit the clubs, talk with their ASU senators, and I've told them on this campaign, don't just take my word for it. Hold me accountable. This is my number. Call me up. I don't want it to be a surprise when we make a strong decision on this board and you're not part of the process in the lead up to that. There's no representation in that. Again, we should not be telling people, talking down to them, talking down to students, telling them what they ought to know, what they ought to believe. We ought to be listening to them and taking their issues into account.
What is your plan for how the district moves forward since Measure G failed to pass?
All of this prefaces, Measure G is absolutely essential. It is essential when you go to some of these campus facilities. Some of them, like where I took my music class at Contra Costa College, they have stayed the same for decades and they're still there. Right now, we have to make sure that we go look back at the primary in 2026. We look at the precincts that have did not vote in favor of Measure G and do targeted outreach to those voters on the campaign side, just to be clear, to understand why they did not think that this was a good idea and why they didn't vote for it. Same thing with folks who did vote in favor. Nick Spinner, who's amazing, has this map that disaggregates voter data, and we should go into those precincts to see exactly why people were particularly in favor of it and double down on that. But we have to make sure that we look at the past, we look at the voter data, and we actually dig into it, let it inform our messaging as we go into 2028. And I will commit right now to making a motion on this board to place Measure G back on the ballot in 2028. I believe it actually should be done in the general election so we have maximum voter turnout. And that is essential to pass it, get above the threshold. And that's going to be something that will not only make our colleges more attractive and boost enrollment as a result of that, but it will also allow us to provide more union jobs for those in our county. We'll be building and building, but it has to be done with union work. I have passed the first citywide PLA in Pinole during my first year on the council. I've committed to the trades, to labor, that I will make sure in October 2027, when our district PLA is up for extension, it's not a matter of just passing it. I will strengthen it and make sure that the $1 million threshold gets lowered to $750,000 for union jobs.
Thank you, Cameron. You want to give us your 1 minute closing statement?
Well, you said 90 seconds though, right?
It's 90 seconds.
Minute and a half, sorry.
I could try to cut me down. No, I'm kidding. Sure, I can go ahead and give that. I want to close with what I believe is a simple but important question for this club, which is who is uniquely prepared to serve students, families, and in our community colleges at this moment. I am the only candidate who has been a community college student here in our district, who sat in our classrooms at Contra Costa College at DVC and understands firsthand what these colleges mean for students who may not have the resources, connections, or usual path to higher education. I'm also the only candidate who has served as an elected official and helped lead a public agency, making decisions about public operating budgets and capital investments. And at a time when our colleges are facing serious financial enrollment challenges, I believe that governing experience for this governing board matters. And throughout my career, and whether as a dues-paying union member of UAW, a policy advocate at the state level, or a local elected official, mayor, and council member, my work has always been rooted in expanding opportunity, protecting working people, lifting up young people, standing up for the communities that deserve a seat at the table. I believe that's why I've earned the support of leaders like Attorney General Rob Bonta, State Treasurer Fiona Ma, DA Becton, education leaders like Trustee Jamila Smith-Folds and Community College Trustee Andy Lee, and over 75 elected officials across our county in California. And I'm especially proud to be a sole endorsed candidate of the Contra Costa Labor Council. But ultimately, it is not about titles. This is about ensuring that the next community college trustee or the student sitting in our classrooms have the same opportunity that changed my life. I would be deeply honored to earn your endorsement and humbly ask for your support. Thank you.